Welcome back to FFL Boss Tutorials. Today we're going to cover a full walkthrough of FFL Boss as a software for firearms dealers. We have just launched our 5.0 version and felt it necessary to create yet another demo because we have made so many significant changes in the software. Let's start with the dashboard. The way we've laid this out, as you can see, is very easy to look at. It makes it very simple for you to figure out what to do next by the layout that is in front of you. We have all of your main navigation over here on the left, your quick navigation up here at the top left, and then your admin up here in the upper right hand corner. Right next to the admin is going to be notifications. I'll talk a little bit more about notifications and what they're for a little bit later in the demo. Now let's talk about the admin. As an admin, you have to be able to control your account. By clicking FFLs or locations, you can go directly to each location and make modifications to that location based on what you need to do. This is where you control your subscription. Additionally, you can control your bound books, your FFL license, and additional add-ons. When it comes to FFL license, we have the ability for you to upload a copy of your federal firearms license to FFL Boss. Now, the way that you do this is you need to scan a copy of your FFL. When you scan it, you will scan it as a JPEG or a PNG. These are different types of file formats that FFL Boss supports. Once you are done, just click Update FFL License and it will upload a copy of your federal firearms license just like this. Once that's been done, from up here in the upper right hand corner, you can type in the email address of a firearms dealer you would like to send a copy of your FFL to, and it will do so. You can also do that from the dashboard. Let me show you how that's done. Once I've typed in the email address of the firearms dealer I would like to send a copy of my FFL to, just click send, and then you have the ability to modify the subject along with add some notes. This allows you to name the person that you are sending the FFL for in the event that you are going to be receiving some firearms from another dealer in behalf of somebody else. The next thing is the account settings. When you start up FFL Boss, you need to make sure that all the information that is in your account matches up with your federal firearms license. This allows you to run the 4473s and other forms correctly. You also control your billing from here, along with primary user settings. You also need to make sure that when you create your account, you put in your job title. This will apply to you and all of your employees, so that when you create a 4473, your job title will automatically be placed on the 4473 along with your digital signature and the date that it was created. Next, we're going to take a look at subscriptions. From subscriptions, you have the ability to add the NFA module or a PON module, and this is where you will find additional add-ons that we will be creating for FFL Boss in the future. Next is users. When you create a new user, you'll simply add the email address, put in their password, their first name, their last name, their job title, which location they will be working at. And this will apply to those companies who have multiple locations. When you are setting up the user for each location, you can designate which location they have the ability to log into. And last of all, you'll need to select the access that they have. We've created permissions over here to the right: employee, supervisor, manager, and account owners. The account owner is going to be the primary login automatically, and the manager will have most of the same login capabilities or master capabilities that the account owners have. Supervisors and employees will be significantly lower access. Additionally, I want to cover Help Center. The Help Center is where we would ask that you submit all tickets from. When you click Help Center, it'll take you directly to our help desk, where you can scroll down right down to the bottom of the page and create an account. And then in the future, when you need to submit a request or a help ticket, you will sign in and submit that request. We prefer that you do so through the help desk because it allows us to track and more easily respond to your messages. Going into the details of the bound book, we can see that you have the ability to set up multiple bound books, but when you go into each of those bound books, there are a couple of things that you can do while in the bound book. You can search for any transaction. You can search for open entries and closed entries, or open entries only or closed entries only, and also search by date range. So let's search by last week and open entries only. We can see that I only have 3 transactions here that are open entries from last week. This allows you to do a much more precise job of searching transactions when an ATF IOI is present. Once you have filtered down to exactly what you want to find, you can print only those things that you found instead of the whole bound book. This allows you to find and print exactly what the ATF IOI needs or what you might need. Additionally, you can simply download that file and save it digitally. Additionally, from the dashboard, there are a couple of other things that we have not covered. You have account training, upload bound book, and also bound book menu. The bound book menu is going to be specific to the location that is up in the upper left-hand corner of that bound book dashboard area. Each one of your bound books can be viewed directly by clicking the View button, which will take you to that specific bound book. You then have the ability to add another bound book if you'd like, print, or download. You can also go to the Details page, FFL license, and add-ons from that bound book location. Lastly, from the dashboard, you have the ability to download each bound book directly from the dashboard by simply clicking the download button. When we click download, the bound book will download directly to your browser, and it will be then presented like this. As you can see, we have acquisitions and then dispositions on the right. In the event that there has been a change made to any of your entries, we will note those changes on the day that it was changed and state what was done to make that change. Additionally, you can add notes to that change. Right below your bound books area is the last 30 days of transaction history. This is a quick glance at exactly what your business has been doing. Right to the right of that, we've put the same information into a pie graph. Now if we scroll down to the very bottom of FFL Boss, we see the last 5 transactions and lastly, the employee activity monitor. This is especially helpful for those locations that have multiple employees. Anytime you make a change within the system will record it and then show it in your change log. For this particular entry, we can see that I logged in as the owner. I changed the zip code. The original was 57108 and I changed it to last 4 of 5951. The change is then notated and you can view those changes from the change log. Now let's talk about acquisitions. The acquisition process in FFL Boss is very, very simple and very user-friendly. Everything within FFL Boss is pretty much standardized. Action buttons are going to be in the upper right-hand corners. When you click on any of your major navigations, such as acquisitions, dispositions, NFA Dashboard, Firearms, customers, and FFLs, they will all be presented in this type of table format. All of these tables are searchable. You can search any of the information that you see in any of these columns here. If you need to find a transaction/acquisition with a certain serial number, you can do so by simply typing in that serial number in the box. Let's say I needed to find KL017. Once I type that in, it immediately filters down to that acquisition. I can then go to that acquisition and make any changes, edits, and so forth. In order to add an acquisition, simply click Add Acquisition. Once we go to the Add Acquisition pop-up, make sure the location is accurate, the bound book that you're going to be acquiring to is accurate, whether it's coming from a dealer or a customer, and then choose that dealer or customer that it's going to be coming from. If you have had any transaction between any dealer or customer, that dealer or customer will show up in the drop-down. As you can see here, any of these dealers that I have worked with before are now showing up in my drop-down menu. If I click on customer, the exact same scenario applies. If you have a situation where the dealer or the customer has not been transacted with in the past, you can add that dealer or customer from here. If it is a dealer that you need to add, click on dealer or make sure the dealer option is selected and click add. If it is a customer, the same applies. Click customer and then add. Let's go to dealer. Now we have the option to either manually add a firearms dealer to our list, or one of the really cool things about FFL Boss is we keep and maintain a full comprehensive list of all firearms dealers in the country. We also keep that up to date per the ATF release of that new information. Now the way to look up a firearms dealer from this FFL Lookup is through any of the pieces of information that are provided in these columns. You can search by FFL number, license name, business name, street address, city, state, zip code, or phone number. So I'm going to type in my firearms business. As you can see, as soon as I type in Trigger Trip, that address, that FFL number, and everything about my company shows up. Now that I have found the firearms dealer I want to deal with, I click on it and click Autofill. Since I have already transacted with myself before, if I click Add Dealer, the system will say, there is an error, you already have this dealer in your drop-down list. So I click OK, and I go back and I go into my drop-down and type in Trigger Trip. Once I click Trigger Trip, I can see that my FFL will be instantaneously validated. In the event that it is not validated, if you click on this hyperlink right here, it will take you to the ATF's Instant Check Validation, where you can use the information there to update the information within the system. But if the FFL does not validate, we have protocols in place that will say why it has not been validated, such as the address does not match up. If that happens, you can go to the FFL Easy Check, see that address, cut and paste into that dealer's record in FFL Boss, and it will complete the validation at that point. Now that we've chosen the dealer that we want to transact with, we can go click New. Now at this point, we have a couple of different ways that we can do this. If you are brand new to FFL Boss, you will have to manually enter in this information at least once, and then create a SKU. If you have a SKU already, we have coded for the One Nice scanners along with the Dymo printers for label printing. I can scan the SKU of an item and it will bring up that particular firearm for me. Now I can scan serial numbers and bring them in individually. In between each scan, I can simply click Tab. Next, I simply click Save and move to the next screen. Also, another great feature that FFL Boss has is the Sequential Serial Number Add capability. I can start by typing in HWX001, HWX025, and now clicking Calculate, I will be able to automatically bring in all 25 firearms in sequential serial number order. If I need to remove any of them, I can simply click the X button. Now the very last step in an acquisition is you have to finalize that acquisition by clicking Finalized Acquisition. I have now completed an acquisition in FFL Boss, and if I go to my primary bound book, I can see that those 2 firearms were in fact added to my system from Trigger Trip with all of that information showing right here in the bound book. Next is dispositions. We have developed 2 main ways to create a disposition. You can either use Kiosk Mode, which is for the customer facing side, or you can simply add a disposition by clicking the disposition button up here, or going to the quick transactions and doing a disposition from right here, or the one-page 4473. In the event that you have done any kind of gunsmithing, this is a scenario in which the customer does not have to do a background check on a 4473 in order to retrieve their firearm. If you've had to keep a firearm overnight as a gunsmith, you simply add the gun to your bound book, and when you are ready to give it back to the customer, you go and click that customer, add the item, and click Add Disposition. That bypasses the 4473 and background check, but still shows where that information could be entered if you needed to. The next type of disposition is the Kiosk Mode. We are extremely happy with our Kiosk Mode and how it functions and its workflow. In order to use Kiosk Mode, we recommend that you get some sort of touchscreen device, such as a tablet or more preferably a laptop with a touchscreen and a keyboard. The reason to use a laptop with an external keyboard as opposed to a tablet is because with a tablet, the keyboard oftentimes takes up a very large percentage of the screen. So if you want to use a tablet, we recommend using either a corded or a Bluetooth external keyboard. In order to get into Kiosk Mode, there are 2 things that you need to do. When you log into your system from that device, you need to click the little button below the login that says Remember Me. What this will do is it will allow your system to stay logged in for a 24-hour period without timing out. Then when you're in the locked device, you create your own PIN, and I'm going to use this PIN. Click Enter, and it will then put the system into Kiosk Mode for the customer to be able to use. So when the customer sees this, they will type in all of the information up here at the top, answer each of these questions. We also recommend that you have your customers fill out the optional information down here, such as email address and phone number. Lastly, the customer will sign here down at the bottom and click Submit. When they do so, a little green box will pop up here in the right-hand corner, letting them know that their 4473 has been submitted successfully. Once the 4473 has been submitted, from the main admin computer that you are using, you will then see a new 4473 pop up. You click on 4473 Review, and you can go through the information here, make sure it's all correct, and then click Continue 4473. The next step is Page 2. Page 2 allows you to run background checks using Assisted LEEP if you have access to NICS and are not in a state that requires a state or local background check to be run. If you are required to run your own background check in your state and not use NICS or LEEP, you can simply run that background check, put in the date, the number, and the response. Next, you'll want to put in the customer's information, then add the firearm that will be transferred, and click Complete. Lastly, you as the admin will need to sign and then complete the 4473. Once you click Complete, the system will automatically generate a digital 4473 with all of the signatures and information placed in the correct places. This 4473 is ready for printing at all times. As of right now, the ATF does require us to print and store each 4473. If you need to create any additional forms such as multi-sale forms, you can click on Generate Form and produce those multiple sale forms. But the system will automatically notify you if a multi-sale form is needed. That notification will show up right here in this spot. Moving on to destroyed items and lost and stolen. We have to create a scenario that we have the ability to add these items to the bound book in the event that something has been destroyed or lost or stolen. There are ATF forms that are involved in these transactions, but we do not currently have those forms in digitized format. Next is the NFA Dashboard. Doing NFA requires you to take some extra steps as a firearms dealer, and we have accounted for those. Coming to the NFA Dashboard, we can see exactly which transactions have occurred over the last 30 days, the same as the standard dashboard, but additionally we have reservations and rentals. Since the NFA process is more extended, we've accounted for this by creating a reservation system. You can simply click Add Reservation, select the customer or dealer that you're going to be creating a Form 3 or a Form 4 for, choose the firearms dealer, add the NFA product, and click Add Reservation. Now what this does is it allows you as a firearms dealer to take that particular item and set it aside, or more so, into a digital escrow within FFL Boss. This means that nobody else within your organization will be able to transact with that particular item until it has been removed from a reservation. This protects you from accidentally selling an NFA item to multiple people, which we have seen before in the industry. Once you have created a reservation, you can now go create either a Form 2, 3, or 4. Once the reservation is completed, meaning you have received your Form 3 back, or you have received your Form 4 back with an approval, you simply go back into that reservation, click Yes that the reservation is closed, and click Save Reservation. It will now place this particular item back into your bound book and allow it to be transacted with. You can then go back to Dispositions or Kiosk Mode and create a 4473 and dispose that item to the customer or the dealer by sending it through FFL Dealers Transfers. Next is rentals. With rentals, you have the ability to once again set a firearm or an item aside within the system to allow it to be used by a customer or even by an employee as an assigned firearm when they are doing demos and such. This makes sure that you have all firearms accounted for at all times. Next is products and firearms. In our products and firearms, this is a comprehensive list of all firearms that you have ever had in the past and everything that you currently have sitting in stock. You have multiple things that you can do here. You can filter each one of these and find specific types of firearms, specific names, manufacturers, calibers, and even time frames. Once you have found the firearms that you want, you can then print that list off in a CSV, text, JSON, or XML. Also from products and firearms, you have the ability to create labels through your Dymo printer. Simply click the print button and it will give you the option to either print a full label or a barcode only. Up here at the top we see exactly what type of labels that we support. The 30252 for the address, or the shipping label 30256 which allows for full label, and the 30252 for the barcode only. When you click barcode only, it will produce that barcode, and then you can click print and it will print it on your Dymo printer. If you have a full list of items that you would like to print, such as an acquisition that had multiple items on it, for instance, I can go to the acquisitions, click the edit button, and then as you can see I have multiple firearms listed in this acquisition. I can simply click print product labels, barcode only, and it will produce all of these barcodes all at once. Next, let's talk about inventory. Inventory is a brand new feature that we just launched that brought us into our 5.0 version. This allows you to do inventory of your firearms and of your business very easily. The way that you do this is by clicking Start Inventory, giving that inventory a title, and adding notes if you wish, and click Start. This will then take you into your products and inventory where you can begin scanning each of your barcodes to see if that item is in stock or not. You can manually do inventory by simply clicking the plus buttons or minus buttons, and then also by adding notes. All you have to do is click the space for inventory notes and it will pop up the ability to type in notes. Within inventory, you have the details over here on the left, inventory guide right under that, and then products right here on the right. The inventory guide is very self-explanatory and shows you exactly what's going on within your system. Green means found, yellow meaning duplicate scan, blue meaning inventory notes, red meaning wrong location or not in stock or not found. Additionally, you have the ability to remove an item from the inventory in the event that it is not in stock anymore. For instance, let's say you begin your inventory but you sell multiple firearms before your inventory is completed. You can simply go in and click remove. The system will remove those items from your inventory, and of course when you do that disposition it will be recorded into your bound book. In the event that one of these items is sold while you're doing inventory, the system will automatically put it on removed. You then have the ability to print your current view, print a report, or download a report. If you wish, you can actually view up to 50, 100, or all items in inventory. For instance, if I click all items in inventory and then click on print current view, it will actually print all 499 line items. However, if I move this to the 50 and click print current view, it will only show the 50 items that I have listed. Additionally, from this location too, you also have the ability to download this into a CSV, text, JSON, or XML. Next is My Customers. My Customers is a very simplistic CRM that the system creates automatically as a new customer fills out and completes a 4473 through Kiosk Mode. Here you have the ability to manage those customers and their information. Next is My FFL Dealers. The same thing applies here. You have the ability to view any firearms dealer that you have done any transaction with in your history, and then also you have the ability to edit that information if need be. Next is transfers to FFLs. This is another type of disposition that we do not put under dispositions itself because it is specifically from one dealer to another. The way to accomplish a transfer is by clicking Add Transfer. Pick the location that the firearm is coming from, pick the dealer that it's going to, choose the item, add the product, and click Add Transfer. Once you do this, you will see here that as an FFL Boss user, Bravo Ops LLC has been notified of the transfer. Our system will automatically send a notification to other firearms dealers that are using FFL Boss and let them know that they have an incoming transfer. If they are not part of FFL Boss, the option to send them an email will show up right here under the transfer notification system. The notifications will then show up in the upper right hand corner of your screen here, and it will show that you have an incoming transfer from whomever. You can then click on Review, make sure the information is accurate, edit or review that information, and then save the acquisition. If you cancel, it will take you out of that acquisition. Events and gun shows is pretty self-explanatory. If you have an event coming up, we recommend that you put that into the system and then make sure that when you're doing a disposition, you click that that event is the one that you're at. Lastly is the Employee Activity Monitor, which we have pretty much covered. If you click on Activity Monitor, it takes you to the full list of changes that you have made, and you can download or export that data once again into a CSV, text, JSON, or XML. If you have any questions about how FFL Boss functions, please feel free to reach out to us via email, help center, or even by phone. We really appreciate all of the support that we have had thus far and look forward to many more great business relationships to come. Once again, thank you for using FFL Boss, your FFL software provider.